yes, but even with that, they did a lot of damage to the tanks that did make the push, more so than I expected even. Most of it coming on the part where they were running away. And as a result, you know, Mafia ends up picking up that round. They play a very controlled and mature game, making it very hard for Weekend.
And as the damage numbers come in here, we see that it's just not enough across the board. The Batchats were meant to be the damage dealers, but they end up just doing that first clip. And then I think with the Batchat, if you fall below, say, 1000 HP, which both of them did, then your effectiveness as like this mobile kind of assassin tank, then it's really not that effective anymore, because your intra clip takes so long that while you're trying to break down the enemy, you might die yourself, and then it's not effective.
Well, Mafia up 2-1 against Weekend. Yeah, Weekend was able to continue the momentum train, and this Ghost Town I think fits Mafia ideally. You know, it's a really long, drawn-out battle. I think they're very happy when one of those battles happens as well.
Yeah, I think because individually, the chance for any of the Mafia players to make big mistakes is like kind of low. You could argue that Profuse made a mistake by not spotting so early, but then again, I think the pathing was designed exactly in a way to surprise him there. And even then, the trade, I think, kind of ended up going in Mafia's favor just because they were able to deal so much damage for a single tank. I think at that point, they were up like 4,000 or 5,000 HP. Then they just need to focus on trading favorably. And also, Weekend has the problem that, yeah, they're up a gun, but realistically, how much worth is that? Because one of their tanks is a T100 that is like not even half a gun. It's like maybe 0.3.
Let's see if Weekend decides to go for something more aggressive now. I really think that if you let Mafia play this long style, you know, the long game, they will come out ahead.
Well, they have this one more chance to try and get into the points in this match, as Mafia is on match point here, once again banning out the EBR, and Weekend doing absolutely the same thing, leaving a lot of freedom once again in the lineups here on Ghost Town.
So far, not too many surprises, though. I mean, Mafia, triple type 5, okay, that's pretty slow. We can still opting for the T100, though. T100 versus IHM. We can, again, looking for the longer game, I guess. But Mafia is not really able to push for that either.
No, I think Mafia hopes to get pushed upon with those type 5s. And then, of course, they have the tanks to kind of profit with, say, the 50B, the K91, etc. They're driving back here at the start to avoid the plane, and it works. Only 2 tanks spotted by the plane of Sunshine. That obviously needs to wait to have another plane available now, whereas Kono opted to not plane in his own T100. This means he can be of a surprise for Weekend.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, since it's going to be another long game, how surprised will they really be?
Probably not that much. I think both teams are speculating currently how many light tanks are actually on the opposing side. They, of course, don't know that the answer is 1 for each. Sunshine now getting the spot out onto Rexa and Orzhek, and he drives back immediately, which is very smart because we saw in the OCS match last Sunday that, you know, if you actually spot someone on the other side, then they will relay that information that they're spotted, and then an unfortunate plane for yourself might catch you with your pants down in those bush lines.
Indeed. So that's why the light goes back. It's a bit too obvious, you know, that when you get spotted, the light could be far forward, so they immediately back away with the light. It's very standard practice, to be honest. And it's also good practice to keep doing so, even if you're not always going to get plane, just to avoid a situation in which you would. The cap is on. Sunshine does have a plane. There's 3 mini strikes for Weekend, and let's keep in mind as well, of course, that it's type 5s on the cap. You know, they're very hard. They're very hard things to dodge strikes with.
On the other side, they are generating cap points, so they are going to be generating at some point heals as well to counteract those strikes a little bit. The only thing that it would do would be driving up the number of damage that Weekend have dealt, realistically, which could give them the advantage in a tiebreaker condition. But if you trade like that, Paradise, that advantage ain't gonna last.
It will not, indeed. Profuse getting spotted out in A1, plane coming out on towards the cap. They have still 3 strikes and a big strike. There comes the first mini strike, there comes the big strike, and they will be able to reset with it. But, well, you may be laughing and be like, look at Mafia, Omega losers sitting on the cap, getting strike. There's not that much left in the arsenal for Weekend, though, in terms of strike.
Ooh. Good reset coming in from Clownzik on towards Uzek. Both of them do have the level 2 heal ability now, so at this point, speculatively, you could even use one of those or even both. So you have it like up again after the next shot of damage that you do. But yeah, here 20 seconds now, and Weekend, they do have a level 2 strike on the Leopard, and they have a level 1 on the CS, but no big strikes. And with the small ones only, you cannot really super much guarantee to be hitting something. That's why we see Trash Panda trying to grab the Eastern big strike now, but that one, of course, is going to take a little bit longer, but good resets once again coming in for Mafia. So far the cap doesn't really work out, but here comes the punishment, here comes the pain onto Clownzik, who takes 2 more by the types, both of them penetrating Clownzik to less than half.
And this is the pressure I was talking about, right? Because of the fact that the strike tanks, they're running out of strikes, right? Paradise doesn't have one, Hellrap doesn't have one, Kana doesn't have one. It's really only Trash Panda with the singular big strike right now that is going to be able to reset, and he will only be able to get 1 out of 2. Sure, Paradise is taking a strike on 1-2 line in return, but they're just not generating quite enough. Ooh, Rexar with a pretty disastrous peak though in his type 5. Very disastrous even.
Oh, he does even end up getting punished more by Trash Panda, who could be going for the throat here, who could be going for the kill against Rexas. 15 seconds remaining, but once again, Weekend have a strike again on that CS63 that, with the damage generated into the cap, should also be getting another baby strike from it, just as Hellrap reaches level 2. So I think for now, Weekend are A-okay with the strikes that they have. A level 3 ability on Paradise now, level 2 on Hellrap. As more damage keeps piling up onto the team of Mafia, it's just nibbling at the heels. 3 tanks committed on the cap, so a little bit more urgent the situation now for Weekend, as a strike gets put onto Barkis, who gets the sound clue but isn't able to dodge. Same for Uzek. Conrad getting reset with a shot here. I think the angles seem to not be working for Mafia, but Clownzik with the 1 shot needs to be careful.
Uzek did end up dodging the strike there for a second, but now Conrad is going to abandon this cap attempt. Mafia not really getting much done. Rexar, his earlier trades come to hunt him down at the very end. You know, made some bad trades there, they cost them, and then he ends up dying, and now Mafia has to scramble to try and make something happen here.
Well, Conrad is now trying to cut off the manual resets by Evil a little bit, but Evil doesn't care about it really. Just hits the cupola with a snapshot. Orzhek now in an engagement against the Leopard 1, but he just doesn't have the clip potential. And now the Leopard, with its pretty good pen HE, is of course able to 2-shot him. So bad news for Orzhek, and even worse news for Mafia, who are going to be conceding the second round to Weekend, leading us to only the 2nd ever tiebreaker in the AMD OLS Season 6.
Well, that's funny. It's going to happen here. Good round for Weekend. I thought Mafia put enough pressure with the tanks on the cap, but you know, Weekend was able to get some crucial shots, some crucial mini strikes, and an unforced error there from Rexar, making his tank very low HP, able to be picked up, was able to cover the sides, and then ends up dying.
Yep. Those small, or in Rexar's case this round, not so small mistakes are the ones that tend to cost rounds and tend to cost points at this point as well. Because both teams are going to go to tiebreaker. This means both of them have a point secured already. They're just now fighting for the second one.
Indeed. this is the case. So, after seeing all of this, Kian, who do you think is going to win it out?
I think still Mafia, regardless. Just because they're the more accomplished, the more the more experienced team. But realistically, it could be any between both of those two teams. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be in the tiebreaker. It's just that I think the possibilities lie more with Mafia than with Weekend, especially considering that I think the tiebreaker map is Sand River, which is not the worst map for Mafia.
No, it should not be, because you can indeed slow down the game a lot again, you know?
Yeah, we saw last playday how Hit actually demolished Mafia on Sand River, so there are ways to beat them, but I think Hit sometimes has that very unique playstyle where they just go uber aggressive and just force the mistakes from the opposing team that not a lot of other teams can replicate.
Mafia end up picking West, so slightly favorite side, I would say, Kian.
Yeah, I think it would have been a surprise if they had picked anything but West. It's also always an interesting thing when teams pick a tiebreaker map that is supposedly a bit sided. Because apparently then both of them would be okay with playing the less favored side as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, for sure. So, do you think Weekend or Mafia has taken it?
I'm gonna stick my Mafia prediction. What about you?
I mean, I had Mafia 3-0, so...
Well, I think I had 3-1. So for me, it's also Jover.
Did anybody predict tiebreaker?
Not from the four of us, at least. I don't have the sheet open right now. Maybe you can check.
Yeah, if you give me a second, I will. I need like...
But yeah, Phil was kind of unhappy with that he was put with Weekend, but
0 for me and Banter, and 3-1 for everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So, well,
out of everybody, right? Of all the predictions I see on the sheet, only Chess Genie predicted 3-2 for Mafia.
Ooh.
Everybody else went with a 3-0 or a 3-1.
Possibility for Chess to catch up then. I think he hasn't been doing like super well, but he's also not beaten yet. So
he has more points than you do, Kian.
My points don't count, all right?
Then again, most people have more points than you do.
I can reiterate, my points don't count.
I would hope so, because you dragged down the class average.
Well, out of all of us here on the stream, I'm the only one that generated points from, from the first match. So there's that. I'll take the W where I can.
That's true. Ian also predicted for W.
All right. You didn't have to tell me that. Anyway, 4:30 banned out for Weekend and the Dravets for Mafia, leaving Weekend to go with... Are you sure they're already finished? I mean, it's double MVY, E50M, K91, STRV, WZTD, out of all things, and an RHM.
Mafia in return, Profuse with his trusty binos, double K91, double E50M, a CS, and an IS7.
All right, the WZTD getting switched away from for a second E50M for Weekend. I was very interested where that WZTD was going to go. I mean, we've seen it being played, for example, on Ensk, but I think realistically here on Sand River, it has a lot of problems, narrow gun arc, low shell velocity, etc., that make it pretty annoying to play.
Yeah. From time to time, this comes into effect. Rexar will be going for the mid-strike. Gap getting excited by K91s. Rexar getting denied there on the strike a little bit. Chrono marching down the middle. And Weekend setting it off very slow, right? Mivi is going through 0 line, then K line. It's a very long approach from them. Chrono just blocking off. Trading gets Rush Panda. That's fine. No strike available either yet for Weekend. So they are going to have to rely on that mini-strike to do the work, because normally speaking, this K91 should get denied on that strike.
I mean, you would think so. Rexar currently taking the middle strike on the crown, and finally he does succeed after over a minute of trying to take it, as Weekend are starting to destroy a few of the houses in the cap that do provide temporary cover. 16 seconds remaining though on the cap, so at some point sooner rather than later, Weekend will have to find a means of resetting. It's not going to be the K91 though without the strike, yeah.
No strike. Sunshine will hit the plane on Barkas. Is there a reset coming out? 2 seconds left. There is a reset on Barkas, I think, from the K-line. That was a close call there. Rush Banda forced to drive close in that E50M, and that is going to take down a lot of these buildings. A lot of strikes coming out of Rush Banda's position. Down towards 700 immediately. Taking a shot from Kono as well on the up position, and there's only 12 seconds left. Rashbanda out in the open. Barkas picks him up without even getting spotted. 9 seconds left now. It doesn't look like Weekend's about to get anything, as there's no strikes available. There's no spots available. Sunshine doesn't even have a plane. Clown's going to have to do it the manual way. Only now does Sunshine get a play, but a little too late, as it's Mafia to take it away. 3-2-2. A little bit of an anticlimactic moment there, but a good execute from Mafia.
Exactly. Mafia recognizing the reset opportunities that Weekend had here, and they were shutting them down one by one. So Mafia securing themselves the second point, securing the overall match win as well. Weekend not going down without a fight, though. I think for them, getting 1 point is already, like, it's not great that you then lose the tiebreaker, but it's not terrible either if you walk away with at least, yeah, exactly, it's something.
I would rather have 1 point than no points, you know?
Absolutely.
At least you'd hope so.
And Profuse with the purple binoculars not getting any assistance. Unlucky.
Part of it is spotting for himself, though. You're like spotting the K91 crossing, for example, you know?
Yeah.
So just because he didn't get any assists doesn't mean it didn't have any value.
Yeah, I think Mafia just did very well with the focusing the strikes on the E50M while keeping the K91 away from the strike in the north. I think those were the two factors that really led to them being able to cap so easily. At least that's what it looked like. And that means that, well, today at least, we are roughly on schedule, because after 2 matches, one of which was an absolute stomp, and this one, rather close affair, we are going to be back soon with the third match. And here, it's kind of, you know, it's like, you know, a mud fight. That's, I think, what it's going to be between Lotus and CTR. Both of them not really with a lot of success. Interestingly, between both of them, only a single point, and CTR were able to take that point from the team that is actually in first place on the board. Funny how that sometimes works. But yeah, we're going to be back with Lotus against CTR just after some replays. Take it away.
They're doing damage, but they're not stopping the strain of W-Tank pushing forward. He's a one-shot items with one more kill.
They can't really do anything.
Hit and run seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. It's pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They're doing damage, but they're not stopping the strain of W-Tank pushing forward. He's a one-shot items with one more kill.
They can't really do anything.
Hit and run seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6. We've replaced out Key Hand for a way better predictor. Hi, Phil.
Well, I mean, today not so great, but I guess great things are still to come. Lotus versus CTR. I actually went for Lotus. I know the community was voting for CTR, but you know, I was wearing blue the last time, and I was hoping to save the Ice Bears, but it was not successful. So I thought this time maybe I can try to save them by predicting in their favor.
That's when he starts getting, you know, risky. Yeah, putting the money on Lotus. But yeah, CTR, as good as they were last season, right? As disappointing they have been so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, they lost some of their core players, and I think they had a bunch of situations where the tactical part looked pretty alright, and then it was just like individual players doing some things that were maybe a bit unnecessary. You remember we had the very first game with Hit and Run versus CTR on Westfield, where Hit and Run basically lost the K91 for free, and then just kept through, even though there were strikes available. It was just not communicated well. So yeah, I mean, both of those teams are pretty much at the bottom of the standings. We had a somewhat similar scenario last season, but Vulgus is out and Weekend is playing much better, so those teams are kind of fighting for 7th instead of 5th now. And community says 75% for CTR. Lotus has looked a tiny bit worse, I guess, but I'm not sure if I would go that much in favor of CTR. They also had some quite rough matches.
Yeah, they had a lot of rough matches. This is the one where you would say that both of them have opportunities. Bilson makes its return. Lotus is going to be the one picking that, and then Himmel's being picked by CTR. This really could be anybody's game. I'm really not too sure who I believe would get ahead in this one.
No, I mean, I was checking the schedule, and Lotus, after this CTR match, has the amazing selection of 2 more Polish teams to play against, Hit and Mafia. So maybe not the most forward-looking situation there for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting match. Like, I was thinking about it a lot. I'm like, I believe anybody could win, but I believe it could be 3-0 for either team almost. Tiebreaker. I really wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like CTR had quite an upwards trend during the previous seasons. You remember they did fairly well in some of like the inter-season competitions, like the Winter Invitational and the Onslaught Legends Cup as well, where they made it into the top 8. even took like 2 rounds of hit and run there in a best of 7. And Ludus was always like, you know, more towards the bottom of the standings, but like not at the very bottom. So I just went basically with the assumption that, wait, everyone is cheating. They've just predicted for Mafia instead of Lotus. I mean, if that would have been an option, I would have predicted for Mafia as well.
Smart, no? It's very smart.
But yeah, either way, we obviously have CTR playing a Mafia already, played their match quite successfully. And I mean, maybe not that successfully considering we can stole the point. But yeah, talking about points, we mentioned earlier CTR took 1 from hit and run. Lotus was not yet able to secure any points. If they want to get out of those bottom 2 positions, they have to either pass by Cashback, who won twice and lost 3 times, I think, or Sicarios, who will later still play against hit and run, but also already sitting on 6 points and have the direct comparison.
This is an important match, right, for both of these teams, because if you win this one, you're within 1 match reach of Sicarios, which is the current team in shared 6th position with Cashback, both on 6 points. So it's very, very important to win this. If you win this, you have an opportunity to get back in this. You lose this, and we're basically counting you out, to be honest.
Yeah, but as I said, like both of them already lost to Sicarios, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they would need to like get some points from somewhere else. I guess it's a bit easier for CTR because they don't really care that much about the direct comparison because they stole the extra point. So if they get 2 victories, they have 7 points, and if they are in the scenario that Sicarios loses their remaining matches, then maybe they can like sneak through with 7 over 6 points. That would be kind of like the cutoff. But yeah, Lotus is the task at hand, and I'm happy to share we are about to load into the game. Pilsen, I heard is one of your favorite maps to see because we see it so rarely. You were missing it earlier today.
Yeah, I was just surprised, you know, went from playing Pilsen every game to only having it in 1 game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we still haven't seen any Tundra. Like, everyone is just banning it. Maybe they want to send me a message to remove it. And obviously we can consider that for future competitions. With that being said, the ban phase very heavy vehicles
Now, but then they still need to get these types into the game somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is still pretty good for CTR. Jordan coming off reload, but good awareness by Cody, making it on the other side of the ridge line. And Tuka has a difficult time there against Cody, because both those tanks held down are not the greatest against each other. Good decision making anyway to focus Herman first, the BZ. They're a bit out of position, and a bounce as well from Herman. So maybe Tuka can pick up the kill, which he immediately does. And taking a look at the HPs, you mentioned it, the types are still quite out of game, and they're carrying the heavy chunk of HP for the team of CTR.
And the bounce there from Herman could be more impactful than we think, to be honest, because minus 650 on Tuka would drop him towards the range where he's too shotable, and then a strike could come in as well. Kodicek's about to get surprised by Tuka. If Tuka misses that one, would have been a huge shot to hit, to be honest.
Oh, and waste the ability. I think he tried to get kind of like one extra reload in before Cody goes away. Tarks is spotted as well at this point. There is the consideration of basically striking the light tank and then respotting it again, so it's a one shot.
Double strike.
But for I think so as well. But I think for safety measures, they should leave the light be for the time being, because the type can also one shot it with an HG or even with a normal AP shell, because you have 700 alpha. Luka misses again, and I think that kind of starts closing in the battle. First strike is being deployed. Second strike, he drives out just in time. Maybe a bit uncoordinated. Miss from Wudok there. Jordan might be able to put in a one. Wouldn't be too critical. Wudok is still quite healthy. But the HPs have swung in favor of CTR, even a bit more than it was at the beginning. Good shot by Tuka now. Just as I was saying, the 50B is dishing out the damage. It took some damage as well, but I mean, that is great shooting, especially in the live. Jordan needs to take at least one more kill.
Darks is coming in from zero line. He doesn't want to commit though. He's running away now. I think CTR is just making this game extremely difficult on themselves. The second strike being put so blind is a waste, to be honest. Just make sure you spot him and then kill him. Kodicek then has to peek. The type is peeking as well. He dies. Like, so much unnecessary stuff. And honestly, there is a chance here for Tarsik. There really is.
No, I don't think so.
I believe there is.
I mean, Wudok will just take the info tower now, and then it's 20 seconds on one strike, and...
Sure, but if Tarks goes straight towards 1-2 line and takes the strike there, he has an opportunity to kill like this. Yes, and for 3 or a one-shot. I would not say that this is over, honestly.
I mean, Wudok, which obviously gives them like the short-term knowledge of where the light tank went, but realistically, like, he could only go into the corner, right?
He only had one real way out, which is down 0 line, which is exactly where he went. He might get one. On Budok when he's crossing inside of the factory towards the strike.
I think Wudok wants him to shoot. He drove sideways, aiming towards him, trying to kind of like take the gamble shot. And I think what they're doing is perfectly fine, like letting the type do the dirty work right now. Obviously, Tarks knows that the type is the one in the cap right now. He has to make sure he gets either a kill. He misses the shot, also provides information by driving through the... Tarks manages to drive out, gets spotted the first 30U, tags him, has the reload advantage as well, and that's the end for Tarks.
Should be the end. Kodicek to pick it up. Tarks needed to make the kill there, but even then Froley was about to appear behind him. CTR wins this game, but it was a close one. Again, I don't think that they really needed to do a lot of stuff that they did.
No, I mean, it was not clean at all.
No, that for sure. Like, this whole field play, I think, when you're winning the type fight, it is like, when you win that fight or starting to win that fight, it's Lotus that will make the move, more likely than not. So the fact that they make it before, against the flow of the game, you know, because the types are going to die, so Lotus has to do something.
Yeah, taking a look at the team score, Tuka there definitely high up on top, but that's not enough. 5k damage is great, but the same was done by Floki, and yeah, I'm not sure if they could have maybe with a couple of smaller adjustments managed to win it out in the end.
I mean, gotta say, I think this could have gone either way, and that's really the danger for CTR. You have to really close out games like this. I want to, keep repeating that. A game where you're so far ahead, even it may not seem they were that far ahead, they really, really were. It's like, you cannot let it slip. You really cannot let it slip. It's very dangerous.
But they did, and that's the first point on the board for CTR. It's not all over, obviously, but we mentioned that momentum is a thing. We saw it how W took 2 rounds in a row on Rurenberg at the beginning of the stream. So if Lotus wants to get some points, then now would be a great time for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be the best time, almost,
No, I mean, we have loaded into the game. Let's see what the teams have prepared. I think it's also important to say that while those teams might be like pretty much at the end of the standings now, they're still like, fairly top level teams that can, can execute if they have the chance to. So neither of the teams should be immediately counted out.
Oh, and again, this is a very important match for both of them. In my opinion, it's a very important match. The loser of this is almost guaranteed to not make it to phase 2. The winner of this has a real opportunity.
I mean, still, like, I would say a slimmer of opportunity. I'm not saying that they are already out of the water, because so far Sicarius seems to be like the next weakest link, and Sicarius won against both of them already. So this comparison is definitely not in their favor.
Bans E4 from Lotus, BZ from CTR gives us a CTR lineup with an IHM and Force B, a 4 to the UK, and you want a type and a Dravets.
I mean, EBR is sometimes even banned on this map. This time again, the E4 and the BZ. Lotus with a double B. I mean, B is usually a tank that doesn't want to face off against types if they can't just close the gap, and it's only one type, so I guess that is something that speaks for Lotus. Also, 3k HP advantage is great for them, but the plane from from Koricek was great, spotted all 5 tanks going to that side, so they have quite good info. Herman in the EBR makes it through immediately, while also the radio tower is being taken. So maybe they don't know that the EBR went through and spotted them because they think it's from the radio tower. So Herman will be a pain in their side. Important thing though is this 15 seconds on the cap, because the RT strike will not be taken in time, as Jordan can reset it immediately. You think Wudok makes it there?
No. He doesn't.
I mean, Herman can maybe give a decap.
No, they missed. Ooh, there is a decap from Herman. That was really last second. That was as last second as they get. One more second and it was all over. So Wudok is now blocking the cap, and thankfully they had Herman to deny that. But that was a really close call. I don't think it's something they should be relying on just as much. But now you can see Lotus immediately reacting off of this. The double light tank is a really hard thing to play with for the side of CTR. They're going to have to try and do it somehow. Wudok, does he get another shot? No, he doesn't. Froley is at this A2 position, but Evo is dead as well in the first B. He got pushed and died, and CTR is down 4,000 HP just like that.
Yeah, and it's not just the HP, right? The firepower with double light tank, you mentioned it. They don't have the armor, because the only really armor tank left is the Dravek. There's no type to kind of shield anyone. The K91 is great with DPM, that doesn't want to be pushed onto either the 430Us. hunting down Floki, who gets some assistance from the RT Strike and the EBR, but that will not be enough. Botchans will pick him up, and Lotus still all their tanks alive.
I mean, it's over. Really good opening for Lotus for this battle, you know.
Frontal misses as well.
I mean, it's just a really good opening from them in the beginning for this battle against the double light. And EBR is not really a damage dealer. You know, he does get the last second decap, but the problem is Woodok's committed, you know, and then Evo in the first B also got pushed in the meantime and died as well. So it's like, you're down 2 tanks and then the half of your team left are light tanks.
Yeah. Okay, that is, I guess, a good thing for us, because we will definitely have at least 4 rounds of gameplay between these teams, not a 3-0 for sure. And after we have seen this, I would say I am not so unhappy with my Lotus prediction, because this one was well done and proactively played by Lotus. And the other one, the one that CTR won, sure, they were the deserved victors, but it wasn't clean whatsoever.
No, it wasn't. So now 1-1 coming out of Pilsen, where Lotus's battle was convincing, CTR's was not. What was the second map again? Himmels, right?
I think so, yeah. And then Cliff tiebreaker.
I mean, so far this match kind of going as expected. I really didn't think that one or the other was going to do some sort of a blowout, and it does seem to be that way. Surely Himmels could change the narrative, but so far from what I've seen, this could be a long one.
No, and I think neither of the team wants to get tiebreaker points only, because that's not really enough for them at this point.
No, of course not. You want full and clean points. Having to give 1 point to the other team is not ideal, to be honest. It really isn't. Because it goes from having to take a point, I think, then to having to win a match.
No. Taking a look at the post-game stats, seems like I was pretty right with the Jordan 50B there, making short work of Evo. You mentioned it, like he was picked up quite immediately. 4 shots fired by Evo. He did his damage, but not enough. And you said it as well. The EBR is not really a combat tank. He brought a very important decap, but that was kind of it. The remaining damage was like 2 shots when it didn't matter anymore, and like a bit of assistance damage there when his 430U got pushed. So, yeah, I mean, good stuff coming out by Lotus. Frawley, as usual, like high up on the standings. But do you really care if the enemy K91 does like close to 4K in a battle that is that one-sided?
No, not really. I mean, he was the only one that actually getting to shoot anything in this battle, you know? He was sitting at a A1, A2, they were pushing Evo, and he was getting some shots, some strikes. That's kind of expected, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also one of those things that if you're doing an active push, you know that you will get out the gun from Evo, deal your damage, and it's just a thing that you have to take into consideration, that there will be some K91 or some other tank that is coming from the second line, like it could be a 140 as well, assisting the tanks that are being pushed on.
Who do we favor on Himmels, if anybody?
I don't know. I feel like both teams have shown that they are capable of you know, like executing, but they're also capable of doing a lot of individual mistakes. And I think with Himmelsdorf, it's very hard to surprise these days, because you know, this whole like T57 traps and stuff is not really something we see working out that often anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's like the surprise effect of it is no longer that big. So I think it just comes down to focus. Like, be extra careful, be extra focused, and have the concentration to penetrate your shots, hit your shots. Don't greed if you're in a situation where you can be shot. Don't lose HP. Keep them for late game if possible. 50B and E4 banned. I would say not really a big surprise. And we see triple Dravik on Lotus side combined with a mix of everything. 430, CS, Betchet, and Bliska. On CTR side, we also have a bunch of different tanks. The IS-4, maybe one to point out. Not like the super standard stuff, but also no longer something crazy. What about the E5?
I don't know, like it has really good DPM, but with the introduction of the Dravits, I'm not really sure the E5 serves too much purpose. Maybe for a specific position where all you wanted to do is farm, but as an overall tank, I don't know. I don't think it's that good this season.
I mean, it can hide its cupola, right? Like Himmelsdorf has a lot of options where you can kind of like half side scrape, half be hull down, and that's where the E5 can shine. Obviously, it gives like the, I don't know, like side effect or something as well of having one extra tank roll, which gives a boost to Frawley's Dravik. But it's only one Dravik that profits from it either way, so I'm not sure if that is important enough. We can see there is a bit of a fight starting off in the north. Cody and Floki versus Jordan, and obviously Sokol, who hasn't been spotted. Tukar in the Bliskavice, also kind of hiding behind, or just being a bit slower. Sokol puts in a good shot into Cody, might even get a second one. Yes, he does. But Ivo, Herman, and Trolley are closing in on the Dravik of David, and that is very expensive.
Extremely expensive, to be honest. David is going to die in that Dravets, and CTR has found a weak point here to punch in the numbers that are needed to be punched in, and Marusha is now in trouble as well in his Dravets. There's a lot of crossfire coming in, though. I think CTR has got to be careful with their approach down this lane. You can see Herman wanted to get this shot, didn't end up working out. Woodog there in trouble as well, but Marush is going to die at the same time, and I think that for CTR, the kills should be the most important factor here. They do get him out of the game, and now the chase continues on towards Tarks, who's having a 1v1 against that 4-3U, but I don't think that Tarks can win. There's some shots coming in from Floki.
I don't think it's a fair 1v1.
No, not really.
There's a lot of assistance coming in from the team in white, like Woodog helping out, even like, I don't know if this was a shield or what exactly it was, but Tuka now has arrived in the Bliskavice as well, and taking a look at the HP, Lotus still has plenty of them, but the Bliska might just get tracked. He gets in the reload, puts down Fronter. Lotus is draining their last remaining tanks, and CTR with 6 still alive. The Batchat's also coming off reload now, and pretty good implementation of this 2-line push there. They got the info that there was too much stuff on the hill, 3 tanks. I have to say, like, Tuka and the Bliska took very long to kind of get into the fight, and then was also just like eliminated by just too many tanks surrounding him. Yeah, well-deserved point for CTR. I would like to see how the E5 did as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game from CTR across the board. They found a weak point to push on, and they just never stopped anymore after that. They found then the next thing, although the peaks there in that lane were not the greatest, let's be real. I mean, especially Herman in the Type 5 kind of sitting there to get owned in return. But it was enough, right? They pick up one, and they pick up the second, and the third one gets isolated. Lotus is forced to re-push back in, and HP was good, but number of the guns in a fight like this is the deciding factor. You can be up like 3k HP. If they have 2 more guns than you shooting you the whole time, that 3k don't matter that much.
No, I mean, Jordan was on the hill with the CS for quite long, and I mentioned it, Tuka and the Bliska was as well very late to arrive in the fight. I don't think he will be top in the leaderboard either. Let's take a look at the post-game stats. There we go. Bliskavice has dealt 3 shots of damage. Well, that's not enough.
Yep. So, good stuff. The E5 didn't do anything special, no?
No, I mean, Evo did his damage, but like he damaged 3 different tanks. I just checked it. It was basically like he pushed, did a shot into the Dravik, and then kind of like continued shooting the same tank. So yes, you get this like, I think 6.5% reload reduction, which is nice, right? But then until he arrived to shoot the other tanks, he didn't really stack up that, what is it called, bounty hunter ability. So, I mean, it worked out, but I didn't really feel like the E5 was like, you know, like the tank that made the difference.
Well, me and Banter are potentially on the money.
The tank that made the difference. Well, one more round for you guys to close out a perfect prediction. I guess my train has departed there on Himmelsdorf. I was thinking Lotus maybe could turn it around today, but it was not the case so far. It could still end up being a 2-3 or 3-2, like Key predicted. But with the bans coming in now, we have E4 and T57 excluded. And I don't think we will see another E5.
I don't think it's either, but look at Lotus. 1 BC, 1 CS, 5 Dravets. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I was told it's called Dravtsi if it's if it's multiple of them, but
unlucky.
It's an interesting composition. We have the double 50B on the side of CTR, and Dravex are alright against them. I mean, you can go hold on pretty well, and they can mitigate some of those clips, obviously. If an autoloader is getting into engagement, it really needs to make sure that all the shots get penetrated. There is an aggressive move of those 50Bs done now immediately towards the middle. Frawley is able to put in a shot, which gives him the ability of inspiring, but as the cooldown of it was significantly prolonged, it's very important to time it properly. Also, only level 1 right now available for him. Sokol taking actually quite a lot of damage. One shot as well from the back, and that's an immediate kill pickup.
Fantastic move there from the 50Bs through the middle, straight into the 5 line. They get Sokol, and now they're going to continue here on towards Botsians and the Dravets. He's holding up front, but Franta in return taking so much damage. The burst is there. He will survive to do at least 1, maybe 2 more shots. They're kind of neglecting to finish him right now. Maybe he gets another shot out. That'd be a little bit more than he should have already. He does get it. Froley in the return comes up from behind and finishes off Botsians, who was backing off, and now the 50Bs in back once more. They're not really getting the greatest engagement, though. They're going to be forced to push back out because Kodicek is getting pushed by Tarks and David. Marusha falling back towards the 5 line. In the meantime, on the 8 line, we've got a 1v1. Evo versus Stuka. The 1v1 going on there. So far, it seems like Evo might actually win that one. Tarks is the last survivor. Make that survived for a second, but dead in 2. As now it's just Marusha and Jordan left standing, and CTR take the reins on Himmelsdorf. The close games of Pilsen are a distant memory at this point in time. As they come back on Himmels, they set the record straight, and the only thing that will be remembered from this match is that they had a win and Lotus had a loss, keeping their chances for the phase 2 alive. For Lotus, it's familiar feelings.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus kind of like reaching the end of that match with their last tank standing there being Jordan. He might actually do like a shot or 2 more. He still has the ability. He can get some extra strike damage in, but I think he pretty much understands that it's now out of his hand. He even gets like a bit of a outplay there onto Frawley now, trading nicely into the 140, but 140 fires back. The damage doesn't really matter anymore. The Blisker might not be able to pick up Jordan, but could put in a good shot, use the ability to get into the fight a bit faster. There's actually quite some armor in this kind of angle, so maybe Jordan has to hope that Evo doesn't get the gun depression. Evo, actually with a good shot, puts in another 800. Jordan picks him up, actually makes it away from the 50B that is chasing him, but 3 tanks and 4000 HP against him. I don't think he stands a chance even against the first tank coming in, as the 50B is fully reloaded and on 950 HP.
Yeah, nonetheless, you know, CTR, good job on Himmels finding really good openings. This one here on the 5 line was very good with the B, Stefan, Sokol as well, and that's where, you know, the lineup from CTR just excels a little bit at that burst with those Bs versus the sustain that Lotus had, but it was a really good round from CTR.
Yeah, and with that, they get the full 3 points. That is very important for them. They will end up on 4 points, directly behind Sicarios and Cashback. and maybe they can still make some magic happen. Good stuff again from the CS, but a lot of this damage was no longer really relevant towards the end. Yeah, I mean, the initial push was just very good. We shouldn't blame it on either Sokol or Botchans, because he was just like the first one to get pushed out. Good pen rates as well from CTR, roughly 90%. They just picked up Sokol, and I can tell you Sokol did exactly what he could. He fired 3 times, did 3 shots of damage, and then took 250B clips and 1 shot into the back. And that was it for our 3rd match of today.
Yeah, and this was an important one. Again, to reiterate just how important it was, it gives CTR a fighting chance for phase 2. If Sicarios loses against Hit and Run, as we all predict without taking any points, and CTR is able to get a point here or there, they are going to go over that position number 6.
No, I mean, they need to still put in the work. They still have, I think, not the worst, but are the best teams ahead of them.
I can check real quick if you want. Give me a second.
They play against Weekend already?
I'm checking. So this was match day 5, right? So match day 6, CTR versus W, and match day 7, Cashback versus CTR. So really not...
I mean, Cashback is on a losing streak right now. So maybe.
Sure, and Sicario still has Mafia and Weekend to go. So not easy matches for any of those teams. But we have one more match in store for you guys today. But before that, we're going to take a quick little break and get it away with some replays.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Hello and welcome back. Looks like Ducky is allowed to make a break after his successful prediction, and Banter is back. Last game of today, Hit versus Sicarios.
Yeah, and an important one for Hit to reclaim their top spot at the top of the leaderboard, and also for Sicarios, because if they lose their next few games, there is a chance that CTR might overtake them and take the or get into the second phase of the competition. At the moment, even with CTR taking the full 3 points from Lotus, they are still relegation threatened.
Yeah, I mean, with the last match obviously turning out the way it did, Lotus is now more or less eliminated from competition. There are some edge cases, I think, if they win like 2 times 3-0 and Sicarios loses both times 3-0 and today as well 3-0, something like that. But yeah, I think Hit and Run would be willing to help them with it. So far, they had a pretty good run. Haven't dropped a single match. They lost a point in the first match to CTR, as we have discussed a bunch of times today already. We'd start on Ghost Town, an interesting map that we have seen a bunch of different things already. And one of the top damage dealers there of this season, Rishek, as well in the middle. I think he was like close to scratching the 4K, but we'll have to see if against Hit and Run he can make it happen, because, you know, his former teammates, even like joint WCI winners, are definitely a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, and if he's getting 4K in a team like this, because bear in mind, when you're winning, you do more damage because you're winning more games, just means you're killing more enemies. So if he's getting up to 4K in the Sicarios team, it's a show that it's an impressive amount of damage, beating out some of the boys who are winning. Ketsai, the star player here, 3.4, not the highest, but look at that KD ratio, 3.2. I think that is the highest I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's a team player, you know, he takes the kills as well.
Well, you can do 10K and lose, or 0 and win, right? So you got to make the kills. You know, that old adage, possibly one of the oldest phrases in the game, gun in the game. It's important to make those kills. So Rhymmetal, full 30U, 50B. I'm pretty sure everyone in this hit and run team can play light tank to some kind of high level degree, but obviously there are specialists. And going into this next match, community predictions around as expected, but I think Sicarios are you know, I remember watching them on the first day against Cashback, and they lost 3-0, but sometimes it is the way you lose. When you watch Lotus lose, you can tell, okay, it's not great. When you watch Sicarios lose, there's some potential here. Little tweaks could get them some serious points.
Yeah, and I mean, they basically won the mandatory matches against the teams at the bottom of the standings already, overcoming CTR and Lotus. Today, we start on Ghost Town, obviously, kind of like Tundra, the perma ban for Hit and Run. Cliff banned against them, also nothing too surprising. We will continue on Sand River. Rumberg banned, Himmelsdorf banned, same for Westfield and Pilsen. Ensk could be the tiebreaker, and I think from our predictions, most of us said we will not get there today.
Yeah, I was a little bit harsh with my prediction. Apparently everyone else was as well, but yeah, Tundra, all teams being too afraid to play on the mighty Tundra. I think it's because it's one of those maps where you it's kind of like Cliff in a way. You can't really make a strat and win it over player skill. A lot of it, Tundra, can be down to RNG and positioning. It's a map where the weaker teams can potentially pick up points against you in something that's not really in your control. So I think it's a safe bet just to ban it. But yeah, the other maps, we've seen a lot of those today. I think we saw 2 Ghost Towns, 2 Sand Rivers, so we're pretty familiar with it at that point. If we even get to, was the tiebreaker Westfield?
Ensk.
Ensk, sorry, Westfield and the brain. If we get to Ensk, then could go either way, but obviously we're always going to favor Hit. And I don't think any of us are predicting this to go to the full tiebreaker. There hasn't been many tiebreakers this season. It's been a weird one. Even when the top teams play each other, it seems to be just a straight 3-0 for one of the teams.
I think we had 3 tiebreakers in total, right? Like Hit versus CTR, then W versus Weekend, and today Mafia versus Weekend.
Yeah, so we've
you were actually the most generous one today.
Oh, was it? What?
I mean, you said you were.
Oh, no, it's
no, it's wrong.
If you hand is 3-1, so someone go. If it does end up being 3-1, I will take the point.
You'll take it. I see.
No, but we've played 15 matches so far. Like I just calculated it, and yeah, only what would you say 3 or 4 tiebreakers? It's not that much. A lot of games have been 3-0s. That's why I kind of went for the 3-0 here. So I thought, in your prediction, I need to accuse you of something. Your prediction keeps changing because you're the first.
I'm the first one to put it in.
Yeah, you're the first one to put it in. But then when I go back later, it's changed.
No, because then maybe I saw the map pick
and put it straight in to put everyone into full sense of security. Then you do something,
Maybe.
You give one team a penalty and then change the points. I know how to.
Yeah, let's jump into battle. It looks like the teams are ready. Looking at the tanks band, it's EBR on both sides. A bunch of 50Bs there on the side of Sicarius. 2, to be fair. 2 strike mediums with a Hurricane and K91. No light tank and triple Dravek. Ketsai picking the T100, even though he had the choice of an RHM. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, I like the T100 on these 8-0 line. There's a lot of low ground positions where T100 can survive. Hit and run picking a very player skill lineup and a very safe lineup. 3 strike mediums, it gives you a lot of versatility and also countering the cap play, so triple cap going on, but that's realistically not going to go through because those 3 mediums. Click abandons it already, goes through the double 50B. They want to
look at DJ. He's getting around the corner there.
Yeah.
Like the 50Bs are having to go a long way.
Yeah, they got spotted by the K91 in the corner, and now it's not great for Sicarius. They want to use these 50Bs to catch something, but they're not catching anything at the moment. The K91 and K1, the K91 of Monster and Panzer Fury covering these tanks of Decker and DJ.
Oh my god, DJ again gets around the corner. The decaps should be fairly doable for them. Obviously, there is a big strike available, putting it completely back to 0 as well. Now, it is important to say they only have 1 strike medium with a small strike, and it doesn't really look like they will have a different option of getting a decap. So the K91s will have to come a bit closer. 12 seconds left. DJ being pushed on now. He has not enough HP to withstand both of those 50Bs, but I think there was a bounce. Risek has 2 shots left. He doesn't need a good roll. He just needs to pen. And yeah, the assistance is coming in. It looks fairly alright for Sicarius. They have a gun advantage, but they still need to catch the strugglers from all the sides that have been distributing their tanks quite well to build up some crossfires.
Yeah, the thing is for Sicarius, it's like fighting needles at the moment. No matter where you peek, you get poked for 320 by these backline K91s and little hits of 100, 250 with those strikes. Decker goes into cleanup. He'll be able to pick up Click and Addy if he goes for him. And the problem is Sicarius, they weren't in that bad of a position at one point where these 50Bs made the trap. And Hit and Run only had 1 strike left for decapping, but the bleed to pick up DJ when they overpeaked was just massive, and from there the cap had to be abandoned, and now there's just no realistic way to come back in. Miko will give one to Monster. Addy might try and give another one, but bear in mind that K91 is like a 4.5 second reload. It's crazy DPM. It's such a hard game for Sicarius. They tried to catch Hit and Run off guard, but really strong play from Hit and Run. Just anticipated DJ running away on a perfect timing. The K91s were set up perfectly. They take this lineup with so many K91s just because, one, it gives you a lot of backline support. So if Sicarius want to pounce on either a 50B or a Dravek, the K91s are always covering, but also these small strikes just mean it's such a hard game for Sicarius, because when you're the weaker team, you want to catch an enemy. You either want to be super aggressive or you want to be super defensive. You can't really play a cool game, but with these K91s, it's just so difficult. to play aggressive.
No, and with all those quick reloads that you have just mentioned, they managed to pick up another kill. Ketzai now as well helping in, and like should be the next one to fall. Gets 200 extra damage there with a little strike, but 5 tanks and 5k HP remaining for Hit and Run, who secure their first point. And I mean, they were not the underdog, and they made that very clear from the start.
Yes, wasn't a bad round for the Sicarios. I thought when DJ ran away and the 50Bs were just taking damage, I thought, okay, this is going to be just over. But when it got to the point where they had 3 in the cap, 2 50Bs on that corner, and Hit and Run only had 1 strike left, I thought, hang on, there's some potential here for them to cap it out. The decap angles are covered by the 50Bs, and there's only 1 strike to go. But when the 50Bs overpeaked and clipped out DJ, they made the kill, but the damage they took was unsustainable. Yeah, they killed
Look at the pen rates.
They drop almost 4k at 98%. Especially with K91 sniping on range, the fact that they're penning practically every shot is very impressive.
And with that all being said, obviously, I have to say the strike damage is surprisingly low. I mean, 850 from both the K91s plus a bit of Punch Furious damage. So, like the big strike, I think just maybe hit two tanks each for both of them.
Sicario's tanks were like almost always on the move. They were always driving. You know, the 50Bs were driving. They drived onto DJ. The Dravix in the cap. Yeah, they took some strike damage in the cap, but they were almost driving, which means it's like placing a strike is a skill in and of itself, because you need to anticipate where the enemy is going to go, and sometimes that's not always the easiest. And we've seen in previous seasons where 2 teams, for example, played CSs on the hill on Cliff, but 1 team has more strike damage. It is definitely a skill to place these strikes, but I don't think strikes were the main thing, especially when you're playing K91. You know, your reload is so quick, you almost don't have time to place the strike.
Yeah, and on top of that, while obviously Sicarios was getting all the map control pretty much immediately, especially on the 1-2 line, they weren't really able to do anything of it. They drove past the strike on the 1 line, obviously, trying to use their 50Bs to catch DJ off guard, but the communication and Hit must have been on point, with Monster in the K91 spotting the aggression, and then DJ making it really like all around the city area in the northern parts of the sea line there. So if Hit and Run continues playing this focused and on this level, it will be a very tough one for for Sicarios to get a point on the board here on Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, bans EBR in the beginning. I'm quite surprised EBR gets banned. I mean, I don't think either team is going to take that tank, even if it was unbanned. Even in previous seasons, we never saw EBR taken.
But keep in mind, it was buffed. It was buffed quite significantly with the option of basically outspotting enemy light tanks. So if it's a secondary tank,
I still feel the plane is too strong to.
But do you need 2 planes? Like imagine, like I don't know, Miku picking now an EBR.
Yeah, not wrong actually. And yeah, we can see again on the Sicario side, the T100. 1 T100, 1 Rheinmetall. Bear in mind that T100 a little bit lower profile. So on the 9-line bushes, there's a lot of low ground there. Like a few undulations in the terrain. So the T100 can play quite well there, pretty safe. RHM is way too big for that, but tried to take the info tower, opts not to do it. That's really risky by Mayo. Nice dodge.
I mean, like dodges it, but
yeah, but now like
obviously he has his own strike, so T-Sec will basically have the same situation, and Alex quite aggressively in his bed shed there, making his way forward.
Very aggressive. It's in front of his light tanks. That's a bold one, to say the least.
It looks like initial trades were going slightly in favor of Hit. T-Sec this time basically just drives out. Obviously, he loses the advantage of capping.
But you see something that Like placed his plane behind T-Sec. So he's
no, Like doesn't have a plane.
Damage. No, not plane, sorry, the artillery strike. But then what happened just now, he placed it right on him. I mean, it's only 100 damage, but this is what I'm saying when I say using strikes as a skill. You need to anticipate what the enemy's going to do. If you place it right on Tizek, Tizek is going to drive backwards. Because he's going to get decapped anyway. You might as well avoid the 100 damage.
But keep in mind that oh yeah, I mean that's a good spot on the light tank. You mentioned it before that T100 is very like flat from the profile, so he gets spotted, which is great for Hit to get the information. Obviously, also the trades onto the Type 5 there are nice. Rishek losing quite significant chunks of HP. Milo as well getting spotted again, taking another shot. But the T100, and that was what I wanted to say to close my point, has enough cover there to get unspotted and save again.
I'm a bit confused what the point of Alex is in the back chat. He hasn't denied the Dravik of Tizek from taking the strike. Tizek does have the strike, or
maybe it's just like you want to kind of like put the Batchat in a position where it can kind of like suicide into a light tank.
I mean,
like, you know, like you have two light tanks to protect the Batchat spotting wise.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Why?
I don't know.
Like if it was a light tank forward who spotted another light tank, then you still have a light tank left, right? It would be 1 for 1. I would, in this scenario, I would not trade a light tank for a Batchat. I don't understand the point.
Yeah, because like even if you kill the enemy light tank, right, you don't have the firepower in the end to kind of like close it out nicely. Good shooting there coming in from the tanks of Hit and Run, dropping another salvo into Ari, who gets spotted again, by the way, and yeah, Ketsai penetrates his shot. Tsek does the same. Panfree fluffs it, but another good shot from Ketsai will be giving him another plane. And yeah, you said it, like now you can see Alex started clipping out onto the Dravik. He's now 2 out of 3.
He only has the cupola.
2 out of 4. And 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 out of 5, and they already lost their first K91.
So you see where those trees are, the like little trees in the buildings right in front of Tizek. That is a minor bump in the terrain, which gives Tizek almost like a little bit of a hold down. Where the bushes are is a little bit of a low ground, which means from the red line it's really hard to hit Tizek. But this is such a strange game by Sicarios. They have Tizek right where they want him. There are ways to kill him, but throwing Adi away for nothing, and now the Batchat just leaves. It's such a strange choice for Sicarios. I don't really know what they want to do at the moment. They're now abandoning this side. They do still have those double lights. I'm surprised they would opt to abandon it completely. I feel like if you have the double light, you kind of want to keep that map control. Make sure Tizek can't leave. I mean, I doubt Tizek's going to leave at all. He doesn't know if he's perma-spotted or not.
Maybe it's a mind game. Like, you know, like that they believe that Hit wouldn't dare to re-push them there. And that's why they use all their forces on the other side. But look at this damage. Another 1,000 damage for free.
Yeah,
flying into Rishek. A monster is not even spotted, and he just like puts in shot after shot. Sure, on this distance you mentioned it, sniping with the K91 is not the easiest task. But like Rishek doesn't have anything to shoot at so far. Now monster gets spotted, gets behind the rubble. The Dravik takes a shot for him, but yeah, Rishek is on 400 HP. A bit of healing might prevent him to go down to a strike and a shot of Monster, who carefully retreats, takes a shot in return from one of the Type 5s. I think it was Click, I'm not sure. But yeah, Rishek is down, and Monster will use his ability now and eliminate Rishek immediately.
It's a really shocking thing, actually.
Rishek, look how aggressive Milo is.
Yeah, but Rishek is one of the most experienced players in 7v7. I think only probably Kulmi Piotr has more experience. They've been playing since probably 2013, 2014.
I mean, Deka.
Deka as well, but Rishek has also played a very, very long time. But the fact
we have Daki in our team, right? Like the caster team also has a lot of experience.
Well, yeah, the experience doesn't count for everything, but the fact that Rishek did not anticipate the fact that Hit Run with Rotate to C1 and just basically throws his life away is really disappointing to see. You want to see players of that experience at that high level. He's probably the most experienced and highest level player in the whole Sicarios team. And throwing his life away like that is not the way. And now it's an even more difficult game because Sicarios have this double light, which means you can't really push anything. I mean, maybe they can strike DJ to death, but with 3.5 minutes to go, 2 tanks down, Tizek is even bold enough to realize, okay, I'm now not even spotted. He gets spotted now because of the T100 rotating. But he's even just happy to kind of spot with his face. If he takes damage, then he knows what shoots him. Now he's got the information. He takes 300, sure, but he knows that Bio is on the side, and he just needs to sit safe now. And it's just a very strange game by Sicario.
It's just also like, I don't really feel like there is a proper plan, right?
Oh, same. That's exactly how I feel. I feel there's no plan. Let's just put the Batchat in front of the lights and do nothing with it. Let's rotate to the other side and hope for luck. I mean, it really speaks to a lack of a plan. It really does.
I mean, Milo actually might be able to get a timing and potentially decap the Dravek from taking a shot, taking a strike. But there's another strike that is being taken. Tizek actually gets the strike. The HPs got a bit closer again. I mean, that is something that we can say. Hit was around 5k up, now it's roughly 2. And there isn't a lot of supportive fire there for Tizek. So maybe they got a bit overeager there on the side of Hit. But on the other hand, Tizek does not really have to fear about anything because he did what he was supposed to do. He held that side for quite long, might actually get the reload. He does, and picks up he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Still 2 guns advantage, and yeah, I mean, taking a look at this Type 5, it's 3k HP out of the 8k remaining, and doesn't really have a lot to do there.
Yeah, I think it's more down to the guns. I think Sicarios were decisive in a weird way. They put the Batchat and the K91 further forward than the light tanks. And that's such a strange thing, you know. If Addy survives, there's a lot of potential in this game, but losing Addy, yes, it's not a pushing tank, which meant that when they made the rotation line, they wouldn't have been able to push the Dravik anyway, even if Addy was with them. But it puts them in such a bad position because they lose that map control. And there are ways to kill Tizek there if you're on the red line.
We saw it.
It might take a few clips from the Batchat or a few lucky Cupola shots from the K91. The shots are really hard. Especially with the K91 on that red line, because the K91 is so low to the ground. But there is a way to do it over time.
But I think it's so much better to put them on the 0 line, try to find an elevated angle from there, and you don't have to clip out immediately 5 shots. If in the Batchat you just do maybe 4 shots, of which you pen 2 or 3, then you're already having enough charge on your prestige bar to get a better reload and have a second try, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Batchat wasn't pressured there, and he's behind that little rock pile, which means he's safe from almost all angles. Even if they plane him, I don't think he's
his top damage.
That much damage. Yeah, I'm not surprised because he was in a position where he was in a solid holding position, and Sicarios couldn't push him or do anything against him. I'm not surprised he's top damage. I mean, you also see the strike damage, you see the blocked. Deca 5k blocked as well. The pen rates are not in Sicario's favor here, but Rijek with 0 as well. That's not what you want to see, but this was just a very strange game. Addy and Alex could have killed Tizek over time. Now, I know it's not that simple, right? That makes it sound very simple. The shots are not easy, and hit and run won't just sit there while Tizek is dying. They will make a move or try to counter Addy or Alex with planes. But it's a better option than what they had here. Even if Alex only hits 1 or 2 out of the 5, if he does it enough over a 2 or 3 minute period, Tizek will die.
With all that being said and done, we are now heading into potentially the last game of today, Sand River. Sicarios is, kind of with their back against the wall now. The odds are stacked against them as while they picked Sand River, Hit was obviously able to select the side, and you guys mentioned it earlier, there is definitely a small advantage if you're picking the side. Hit a team that we have seen do quite interesting things. Do you think they will come up with something creative or new on Sand River, or will they just play something fairly standard and you just don't do big mistakes?
I think this will be the most standard strategy we've ever seen. I mean, that's basically what they did on Ghost Town. They had a few tanks forward, K91's behind. The strikes mean Sicarios can't do decap rushes, and they just let do cap rushes, and they just let Sicarios push into them because Sicarios hope to catch them out. But Hit and Run are such an experienced team, you know, they'll do crazy and special things against Mafia and W and Cashback. Against Sicarios, 2-0 up, and they get to choose the side on Sand River, I think they're just going to play something incredibly standard. They'll ban STRV and do some, I don't know, E50M, K91 things.
Well, not a big surprise, at least one of the teams banning the STRV. Dravik banned by Hit and Run. They're coming in with a quite aggressive lineup, double E50M and the 430U. We mentioned the Yo tank, a good choice there as well. The IS-7 being picked over Dravik, which obviously Hit and Run banned themselves. Triple K91 on the side of Sicarios, double IS-7, Yo tank and E50M. And obviously important to point out is Katsai playing the only light tank in this round.
Yeah, Rizek opting for low noise instead of HP. Kind of curious to see if he has any special things planned. Plane comes out in the beginning, 3 tanks spotted, the double IS-7 and Addy in the 50M. It's a pretty good split by Sicarios in the beginning. Hit and Run opening pretty passive, double 50M in the base, which is quite a surprise. I do like Sicarios' lineup actually. The more I watch OLS, the more I'm starting to think I'm liking this K91. It's been on the up for a while, but now with the changes to the strike, I think it's very viable.
I mean, I can give you a small spoiler. The K91 will be not as good anymore as before after the mid-season patch.
Nothing to the ground, Phil. Make it turretless.
Okay, Alex took a shot from the back, and on the offside, we saw Click taking actually also quite some damage, like roughly 1.1k there, while T-Sec in the IS-7 is still full HP. Now a strike is being taken by Monster. The same can be said about Adi in the middle area there. And
it's really bold by Click, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Click is very aggressive, and he gets punished.
Yeah, but he's getting really good info. Panzerfury and DJ being spotted on this crossing. He's taken a bit of damage to be here, but it's not bad. I don't think Click is that well covered. He has Mayo covering with Alex. The E50M of Adi in the south, he's taken the strike, so he's now in a position to cover. Info point being taken by DJ. Alex Click pulls back a bit. Not sure about that one. I think he was in a good position because he was spotting rotations. I'm not sure he would have taken damage, but Miko and Like are in horrible positions. They're in this kind of awkward low ground where they're being punished, and the Rizek in the base can't really do much against that. DJ does take the info point, so full info for Hit and Run. The damage on these K91s, I'm not sure what the plan was of taking that position. Maybe they just wanted to deny the mid-ridge, the crown area.
No, but look at the HP difference now.
Yeah, they bled a lot.
The cap is completely reset. They still have the ability of kind of like committing in there with potentially like a healthy 50M, something like that. Decha and the Yo tank is still very healthy as well. And I mean, this tank is just like here and there collecting a shot of damage and just like boosting its own DPM by sniping across. I have to say, so far, in either of the rounds of Sicario, either they had a plan and it didn't work out at all, or they just feel like they didn't have any plan at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's some potential on this one, but there's a lot of outstanding. Iku has left that C0 position, so he won't get pushed by the E50M anymore. They're making a rotation. I was a bit worried about the IS-7 of Click, but he is getting more cover now. A rotation is being made, cap up to 41 seconds. And bear in mind, there's only the strike of Monster info tower being taken by DJ. Once he does that, the strike will get popped onto that IS-7. I'm not sure which team I favor. Obviously, the HP is heavily in Hit and Run's favor, but the position from both of the Ghost Town games, I think this is the game where if something's going to happen for Sicarios, it's this. Because they do have control over both those strikes. And both of the tanks of Tizek and the Yo tank of Deca are kind of stuck there. The Click is being heavily punished for that.
I mean, you know, are they stuck with Hit and Run, or are they just like stuck you know.
Yeah, you're locked in here with me.
I mean, Decha has been able to shoot 3 different tanks, which basically gives him like close to 20% reduced reload. That's not insignificant, and the moment that this Yo gets pushed, that'll be a very heavy push and a very expensive one.
Yeah, it's a brutal display of player skill by hit and run. They don't need to do anything. Every few seconds they get a pot shot into Sicario's. HP was already in hit and run's favor in the beginning, and now it's 6.5k. Mayo goes in this position to try and get some shots, but you know what's going to happen. He can get repushed at any time. Klik is now moving to that corner because Deca was pulled back, but Tizek doesn't care. He's just going straight for Mayo, and he knows he can do it. DJ coming from the other angle. They're going to take some damage for this, but the kill will be made here. And once the kill's made, that's gun advantage or hit and run. Mayo even drives into the rock. Not what you want to see. Driving license revoked.
And I mean, in the meantime, Rishik as well drops to 150. There are RT strikes being used on either of the sides, but it's 2 kills now on the side of hit and run. I mean, the HP advantage is... It's basically dictating how this game is going to end. It's 6k left. Make that 5 and make that 4 immediately. I mean, Decha from the sideline picks up the kill, picks up another shot of damage, and now in the later stages of this game, after having racked up some of those bounty hunter hits now, he has so much DPM.
You need to explain to me how that skill works, because I played it in random.
It's pretty easy. It's very easy. So it counts how many different targets you hit. I mean, you need to penetrate them. And for every different target that you hit, you get 6.5% reload reduction.
Because I shot 2 different people and the skill didn't go up, and then one day I checked and the skill was full, so still getting used to that one. But in this round, this was what I would call a brutal display of player skill. This was nothing but just experience and player skill. Now, I watched a video a long time ago and reminded me of this. I think it was a famed tier 10 stronghold where just nobody spoke and everyone just free played and they slaughtered the enemy. They didn't even talk. They just gave a challenge to themselves and just don't talk. And this is kind of how that felt for him. There was no real strats here. There was just kind of, let's just take initial positions and see what the enemy do and then do what we want. And
maybe they're just like, you know, the strats just don't shine through that much because it was just so one-sided. Like,
yeah, I mean, everything that Sicario did, every movement, every position they took, everything they tried to do, they were just punished for it a little bit. And a little bit of punishment stacks up when that happens a lot. You know, it's like fighting a K921, right? It's only 320 if it hits you once. If it hits you 10 times in a minute, that adds up, and you can see it here. Really was just brutal actually to watch. Just Sicarios who I want to believe in. You know, they're the new team. They weren't here in the previous seasons. I think they've played on a higher level than Lotus, the other kind of weaker seeded team. But this was an absolute dismantling. And Hit and Run deserved to be on top of the leaderboard at the moment because this was brutal.
No, I mean, Hit and Run definitely very strong showing again. I mean, you mentioned it as well. Like, we have different kind of 3-0s. Yeah, quick overview there. Hit and Run, you mentioned it, 5-0. But this was definitely a 3-0 that was very one-sided. There was no doubt who was the better team. Mafia and W also like quite high there in the standings, getting 4 victories, both of them losing a point to Weekend, who are 2-3 but getting an extra point. I'm actually surprised. I think Weekend should have 8 points because they won twice and stole 2 points with tiebreakers. Cashback, yeah, 2nd loss in a row, not so nice for them. Also, like, difference in rounds now negative for them. And, yeah, I mean, we mentioned it. This 3-0 for Hit and Run is helping out CTR because they're still not that far off from Sicarios.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus are completely out. There's no way that Lotus can come back from this. Even if they win 2 on round difference, it's not mathematically possible. Cashback, it's a bit concerning their position, but bear in mind the next 2 play days they have Weekend and CTR, so on paper they should be able to get a point. CTR, if they want to try and get above Sakaras, they do need to step it up in these next two games. They have, as I mentioned, Cashback and W, so it's not going to be easy for them. And who do Weekend have? They have Cashback and Sicarios. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for Weekend to get high up in the list as well, because I haven't seen much from Cashback recently. If Weekend can pull a win out of there and win against Sicarios, there's a chance they can crack the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, with all that being said and done, we have 2 more days left, as you mentioned, plus an extra match on Sunday where the top OCS teams, and I think it's Collapse again, this time against Beton, will be able to show off their skills. Potentially those are the teams that we will see either directly in the OLS or maybe in the relegation match. I'm really looking forward to see what the next games have to tell us. We had a tiebreaker today, a couple of pretty one-sided matches as well, but as you were mentioning matches that are still to come, there are definitely some bangers still ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what the next day brings. I think it's a bit of a shame that Lotus is out. I was planning on getting their bundle, but things happen, and that lower area of the bracket, yeah, Lotus are out, but CTR have some potential. If they come back in the next days, we could have some drama with some unexpected teams going out.
No. Then I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and see you on Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, stream. We'll be there.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Ulu.
Ba-ding,